August 4th or August 8th, Tracy. We are now live.
My oh, Bobby, I've been in business. It'll be I think it's around the same time for 7 years. It will be. So there you go.
There you go.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and good evening, everyone who's joining us from other parts. So, thank you so much, Bobby McGrath, for being with us this morning to talk about all things home staging for sale.
I'm looking forward
So,
to
home
it.
staging for home sellers.
Looking forward
And
to
it's
it.
more than just home staging too, isn't it, Bobby? It is really home presentation.
hmm Yes, it's home presentation. It's just smart marketing is what home staging is. So I know tonight we're going to kind of talk about the business of home staging too. So which I'm pretty excited about. But home staging, a lot of times I think that terms got certain connotations to it. But what I would love to do is really get people to wrap their brain around the fact that really it's just savvy marketing. That's really what home staging is. For arguably the most expensive thing that you own, right? The most valuable thing that you own. So it's just smart marketing.
So I'm just going to take my headphones off so I won't be sad.
Okay.
Okay, there's a Q&A already, Bobby. We've got a Q in the A. I'm just going to start speaking again, just so I can cut out some of what we've already done. I'm sorry, everyone. This is live. Good morning, everyone. It's Tracy McLeod from Presentation Cells, and we've got some lovely people joining us today, including the wonderful, gorgeous, fabulous Bobby McGrath from the US. So, Bobby, tell us about yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good morning in Australia and good evening to everybody else, I guess. Anyway, my name is Bobby McGrath, and I have a home staging business, Successful Staging, that I've run for the last 14 years here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And I've done just about every aspect of the business. I've worked on the occupied side as well as the vacant side. So whether you're living in your home or you have an empty house that you're trying to sell, I've worked both sides of the tracks, so to speak. About 4 years ago, I decided that I would step back and really focus in on the occupied side. I'm very blessed to have some fantastic vacant stagers in my area that I'm very happy to refer business to. So for me, the occupied side won my heart. Through the years, I've been very blessed to have received some recognition from my peers, which really, really meant the world to me because I had kind of been off as an island to myself and finally kind of stepped out. And since I've become a part of the larger home staging world, my goals have changed. And so while I still provide the occupied home staging work. I also am I'm creating training courses for stagers. I already have one out there for realtors, and also co-authored a book, Home Staging, The Power That Sells Real Estate, which you can get on Amazon if anybody's interested. And actually, Tracy and we are joining some fellow stagers for an upcoming book, a coffee table book on home staging to come out this in November. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me. To date, I'm over 5,500 homes that I've actively staged and or consulted on. And I've worked with many, many realtors, from beginning realtors to very well-established realtors. And through it all, I have learned so, so much. And after 14 years, I thought that I would reach out and start sharing some of that information with my fellow stagers, especially the newbies. And newbies is our term of endearment for them, right, Tracy?
That is. And look, not only newbie stagers, but I think you've mentioned before about newbie real estate agents and how learning the benefit and understanding how staging can help their business early on is a real game changer for a lot of them, isn't it?
It really is. I'm very proud to say there's two realtors that I really think of to the front of my mind that what they decided was when they started their real estate business, they stepped back and they looked around to see who was successful. And what they did, which I thought was brilliant, is they actually went to that realtor and said, I think you're fabulous. I love how you do things. What's your magic sauce? What's your secret sauce? And so those realtors were very, very generous in sharing with them, well, this is something that has really helped me build my business. So I've had the opportunity to see, especially these two particular realtors from day one, utilize staging within their marketing plan for their clients. And what's been interesting is to see how much faster they are progressing in the industry as opposed to some of their counterparts who started at the same time, but operated a bit more reserved, who were kind of almost afraid to take that leap. So anyway, it's been interesting. I wish I had hard stats. I'll have to see what I can do to get some stats like that. But it's really exciting. I love working with realtors who have just started out because they're just, it's smart.
And speaking of stats as well, the National Association of Realtors has just put out some statistics on home staging. I know that they do that every year in the US, and we don't have the value of those types of statistics here in Australia. So can you tell us a little bit about, what they're reporting on and what they actually talk about?
Well, yes, absolutely. I'd encourage anyone who's interested in looking it up. It's through the National Association of Realtors. It's the 2017 Profile of Home Staging, and it's actually online. And there's some great numbers in there. The one that I found, well, for instance, they talk about, again, our pricing model is a bit different than the Australian pricing model of real estate. But what they've done is they surveyed realtors, active realtors, to find out what percent, or how staging has affected the actual sale price of homes. So you have folks who said, not at all, I don't know. And then you had this wide range of realtors who were saying anywhere from like 1 to 5%. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but 1 to 5%, I think it was 31% of the realtors who were part of the survey said that they believed that the price was increased by at least 1 to 5%. And then it also went up as high as 20%. And again, with our pricing model, when our homes hit the market, generally what happens is the price that the home enters is the top value. It's like the true value they believe the home will sell for. So when we get additional above that ask, those are great numbers for us. So they discussed that. One of the things I also appreciated was they broke it down into two sections. They talked to listing agents who primarily, do the listing and help present the home, do the photos, etc. But they also asked the same questions to buyer's agents who specifically work with the buying public and who go into each and every home and hear firsthand the feedback from the home buyers. So one of the things that they talked about was which are the most important rooms to be staged. So they discussed that with the selling agents, and I wish I had those numbers in front of me, but I do remember the other side, the buyer's agents, because I really gave extra weight to learning those numbers because I believe that's the true value to us. So it was, I believe, I know it was the kitchen, the master bedroom, and the living room. Those were the three top rooms that they indicated were very, very important to be staged. So if you're looking at staging a vacant home, having that kind of information is very good because that allows you to apply your investment in the smart rooms, in the money, I call them the money rooms. So anyway, interesting numbers on that. I'm trying to visualize. I've got it up. I posted it up earlier. I should have had those numbers next to me. I'm sorry. I neglected to do that.
No, I'm sorry, Bobby. I've just thrown a curveball at you, and I think you caught it really well. And the we do have it on the Facebook page, the Presentation Sells Facebook page. I'm sure it's on your Facebook page at Successful Staging.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can go to either of those pages, but we will put a link up underneath.
Okay.
And we'll also put a link to the actual statistics, because I think what you're saying, Bobby, is that, you know, it's really the buyers who are the ones that determine the price of a home. You know, they're the ones that are making the bids. They're the ones who are viewing the homes for the first time. So when you see the information from the buyer's agents, you feel like that's coming directly from buyers, and you're able to say, well, you know, this is impactful because they are the ones that don't have any background, any history. The selling agent has been with the project and the property from the start of the sale process. So there's kind of, I guess, you know, the more you know, the more things that impact on your impression. So it's really great to have that first impression from the buyer's agents as well.
Well, there's another aspect of the study, and I have not dissected it this time. I did kind of a quick overview. It was just released, I think, 3 days ago.
Let me see if I can find it here.
Okay, it was released, I believe, like 3 days ago. And the where was I going with that? One of the things that one of the things that I like about it is that it really breaks down how they did the study. And then they also go into so many different variables of the staging process. So it's really a great resource. They talk about, oh my gosh, I should have printed it up and had it here with me. I apologize for that. But did you find it?
I have.
Okay, because there's...
Somebody's even done an infographic, Bobby.
Yes, they did. They've created an infographic, and they're very good about doing those things.
Would you prefer to see the infographic or the actual report?
No, the infographic's great because I can go off of that because, yeah. Basically what they do every year is they ask the same questions, and there's been a trending change. So the last study that I have was the 2015 study. So what I plan on doing is sitting down and doing a comparison to see which way the numbers are trending. But one of the things was they did discuss who pays for staging. So that I thought was very interesting because they're starting to look at, you know, the value that realtors see, you know, on the street, so to speak, the value that they see on whether or not they pay for it. And they're starting to really incorporate it into their business. So do you have it there, Tracy?
It's just coming up now, Bobby. Just
okay.
Open. Here we go. Let's have a look and see if this is going to give. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. That's great. Okay. Now I'll come back.
We should have done this whole thing today on just this report. I mean, this is like, it's great information.
It is fantastic information. And now I've just got a screen share, haven't I? Share my screen.
There you go.
Okay, here we go. So this is the screen.
Yes. So here's the here's the report. So you know, great statistics right there. Right here, 49% of agents talk about how home staging has an effect on most buyers when they view the house. And what I'd like to talk about on that is the fact that they're discussing the photos as well, the staged photos. Because again, you know, I beat on this all the time, that the stronger the marketing photos are, the more compelling they are, and then the more likely that someone is to pick up the phone to request to see the home. And then, and look at this. This is one number that I thought was great. I was happy to see it, that 38% of sellers' agents said that they stage all of the sellers' homes prior to listing them for sale. And I don't remember seeing that number in the past. I don't know if that was a new question, but I will tell you, I do have realtors who are just going strong in the business, who stage every single one of their listings. And the interesting thing too is, you know, we've gone through a lot of fluctuation here with the home staging, and the realtors that are still that were doing well during, you know, the hard times, so to speak, they still staged all their listings. You even in a quote unquote down market. And in an up market where, homes are selling quickly, what they're doing is they're still staging all of their listings because they know, of course, the home is going to sell in a hot market. But what they're doing is they're guaranteeing that their client is going to get every single penny of hidden equity from that house. So I love seeing that number. So 38%, that's a huge jump for us for the last few years.
And it's important to point out, I think, Bobby, that in Australia, we're not reaching those sort of numbers at the moment. There may be some markets in some areas. I can't speak for the whole country, but I do know that across the board, I would say in some areas, definitely those numbers are being reached, but in general, it's probably lower. So we're still, as I've said to you before, we're still about, 7 or more years behind where you are as far as the real estate market goes and the things that are impacting it. But you are, and that's why we're talking to you too, because you have that prior knowledge, the knowledge of things that you've been doing for 7 years, and you know what's worked, what hasn't, and what the trends tend to be. We can't say they're definitely going to be the same here, but you're the closest to the ghost of Christmas future that we have, Bobby. So really appreciate you being here.
I should have worn my glittery earrings.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I think I wore mine. So there you go.
I'd also like to remind our viewers too that when we're talking about sellers agents, that they stage all of their sellers' homes, it's not necessarily that they bring all furniture in. That's not necessarily what the staging process is. Many times what that is a staging consultation, and not just a quick little checklist that they could get off the internet and do on their own, but with a true professional home stager who really knows what it takes to create those compelling rooms and the compelling photographs. So it's consultation. It's many steps in between. It could be a full occupied staging, or it could be a full vacant staging. There's a wide variety of services within that term staging. So I know we'll touch on that, if not today, then in the future for sure.
I think that would be a great thing to do, because I think the term staging is very broad, and a lot of people really don't understand what it is. Exactly. It's people say, is that when is that house dressing? Is that there's a whole lot of, I think in Canada or somewhere they say something like furniture fluffing, or it's just so there's sort of some odd terms that we want to stamp out if we can.
Yeah. This is true. So
would you like me to scroll up a bit there,
sure,
Bobby, so you can have a look?
Yeah, let's just do a little bit more. We'll just review this. We'll review them quickly, because if folks are interested, they can look this up. They can look it up very easy. You go to www.nar.realtor and 2017 profile of home staging. Okay, so just real quick, we'll review. Tracy, what's the next portion?
So we've got 39% of sellers agents stated that staging a home greatly decreases the amount of time the home is on the market.
Okay, I don't see that. I can't see it on the screen. I don't know if anyone else can.
Let me see if I can. Can you see it now, Bobby?
No, it's still, I see 2017 right near, about near the top of the screen. And Shelly is also saying, no, she can't see it as well. So,
okay.
Well, I tell you what,
the top of the screen.
There we go. It moved. There we go. Yes. Okay. 39% stated. Yes. 39% of sellers agents. Now this again is the seller side. So this is what I love. The sellers agents, they know when they go into a home, they know the average days on market for a neighborhood and things. So to have 39% of the sellers agents say, you know what, I know that it's decreased our time on the market. That's a great number. That's a great number. And I'm really glad to see that they're holding those figures. And then buyers agents, again, gotta love them, right? 77% of them are saying, yeah, when our buyers go in and it's got furniture in it, or the furniture, if it's occupied and things have been edited and rearranged and everything, it makes it easier for folks to see it as their future home. They're not feeling, they're not getting all caught up in the owner's things, or they're not going into what I call a naked room and noticing all the little flaws. So, it's those are great stats. And then the next one down, I believe, was what I was talking about earlier. Will it scroll up now?
I've got on my screen, Bobby, it says that 77% of buyers agents said staging a home.
Yes, that's what I was just talking about.
That. Sorry,
yeah. That's okay. I know you were focused. That's okay. You're focused. You're the tech angel. So you're just
I'm in the chat room trying to respond to people. So it's
okay, you got it. Okay, so we just talked about this. Okay, here's the numbers. I was just talking. Again, I believe on the left side, that is the buyer's agents. 41% kitchen. They say that, 55% of them said the living room, 51% of them said the master bedroom. So for me, they're the ones who are hearing the people as they're walking through the house. So I think that's invaluable information. And then I found it interesting that when you look on the other side, what you'll see from the seller's perspective, from the selling agent's perspective, the numbers, 83% of them are recommending that the living room, to be staged. And then the kitchen and the master bedroom, you can see the numbers. So you can see that there's, agreement on which rooms to stage. And it's interesting how they're different. Now, what I love about the seller's agents, they are our marketeers. Okay. So anyone who does marketing knows when you put together a marketing product, what you want to do is to appeal to as many folks as possible, right? I mean, I don't care if you're selling tennis shoes or bubble gum. That's what you're trying to do. So what I love is that these, again, are savvy realtors who do understand. And the fact that they're in agreement to what the buyer's agents are recommending, that's huge. So whether you're a home seller who's going to do this process yourself, these 3 rooms are key. Or if you're a stager, this is great information for you to know when you're putting together your proposals for vacant stagings. Or if you're an occupied stager and you're working with clients, you need to help them focus on which rooms to put their time, money, and effort into. And then as realtors, I think it's great because what you can do is encourage your clients to make sure that those 3 rooms, refer to them as the money rooms, that those 3 rooms shine. Because I tell people all the time, it's master bedrooms and kitchens will sell your house. So, and then here our floor plans are such that many times the kitchen and the family room are open to each other. And I will tell people, look, if you can't spend your time, money, on effort on any other room, this is what I need you to do. The kitchen, family room, master suite. Do those 3. The others, you get bonus points for getting it done. So anyway, great information, don't you think?
It's fantastic information. And I think I'd probably also add here, and it'd be interesting to know, but the outdoor room. We spend a lot of time in the outdoor areas of our homes. So, that's an important area for us as well. Especially if you get the flow between the indoor and the outdoor.
I think that's a really good insight, because I think a lot of that has to do too of which region in the world that you happen to be and what your climate is like. Because I know in California, many times I used to live out there, and the idea of having like the family room kitchen area and then a whole wall of sliding glass doors that lead out onto a big patio area, the idea of like folding back all of those doors so you could go, it's seamless from inside out, huge importance. But other parts of the country, like here in the South, I mean, I love my South, I really do. But right now, if you were to see outside my window, it is hot and it is sweaty. The humidity is just something else. So, we do have outdoor rooms like screen rooms. 4-season rooms are worth their weight in gold, because then you can, do you know what that is, Tracy? A 4-season? No. Okay, no. It's a sunroom. Do you guys have sunrooms?
Yes,
Okay,
we
it's
do.
a sunroom that has glass in it and that has air conditioning or heating into it.
Okay. Yes.
That way you can use it year round, because otherwise when it's cold, who wants to go sit out there? Or if it's hot and sweaty like today, who wants to go out there? So a 4-season room. I was just, I've been doing so much reading, and there was a report I saw today that was talking about the rooms that you should spend money on, and then those rooms that really, they don't really, you don't get return for your bang for your buck. And I was surprised that sunroom was one of the rooms that they said, doing something to that may not get you much money back. But I was wondering if they had asked that next question. Well, wait a minute. If you convert a sunroom into a 4-season room, is there any increase? I would have to disagree with the study unless they didn't ask that question. But here it works. So just regionalism, yeah, for outdoors and those types of things.
Really good point. And I think if people with children too, you know, that sunroom can be a real lifesaver for them.
Yes.
As a set area. So
yes.
So Bobby, now we have a question which is probably more of one for me.
Okay.
With regard to Tanya's asked about getting copies later, so getting access to the previous recordings. Okay. The answer is yes, Tanya. I'm going to talk to the editing department. Just a second. Editing department, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to get there and I'm going to get those things edited.
There you go.
So I'm planning, I was planning to do it over the weekend, but I'm actually working over the weekend now, so I'll get as many as I can done. They are on YouTube under Presentation Cells, youtube.com, Presentation Cells. So any that you haven't seen already, you can access them there. And the other one is, but I will send out the links as soon as they've been properly edited. But the raw ones are there, except for one that I forgot to go live on because we had technical difficulties. So everyone's asking me about that one. So I'll work on that one first. But thank you for your question. And the same with you, Linda. We'll have those live, and I'll let everyone know where you can find them. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, sorry, Bobby.
That's okay.
Now, the other thing we were going to talk about today is actually where home staging sits, obviously in the process of selling. When do you get the home stager in? What type of things are going to happen in that initial consultation that people really need to know before they do anything? And, you know, and then what kind of follow-up staging services are there that people can take advantage of?
Well, the good news.
This is in an occupied home.
Oh, in an occupied. Okay. Okay. Well, I was going to say the good news is if you're a home stager and you're there with your pad and paper and you want to write down the exact way about how things are done, this is the way that I do things. I've tried a lot of different permutations, and this is what has worked well for me. But understand, as you build your business and as you find where your strengths and your weaknesses are, you may be tweaking things so that it works best and that you best serve your clients. So just keep that in mind. But generally with home staging, heck, if I'm a home seller and I'm thinking, okay, I got to get this house ready for market. I need to paint. I know I need to do some repairs around the house, and gosh, the carpet, I'm not sure if I should keep it or not. And, you know, wood floors, I think I need to get, you know what, I'm really going to strongly recommend you get a stager in there right away, because this is what happens. And this, again, you know how buyer's agents hear it straight from the horse's mouth? I hear it straight from the seller's mouth. I will go in, they will wait, and they will do the painting, and they'll redo the floors, and they will do all these things and spend thousands of dollars getting ready because they think they need to be ready for me. And then I come in and I look at their white walls. Now, I know that's a big thing in Australia. White walls are okay. And, you know, some homes here, white works too. But I go in and the color, whatever color it is just wrong. It either has a time stamp, or it's fighting the trim color, or it's fighting the floor color. And they've just spent, you know, $5,000 painting everything, where if they had just called me in before they did any of that, they would have had great colors for them. That same money that they spent would have been money makers for them. Maybe after looking at the house and knowing what their budget basically is, it may have been that I could have come up with a workaround on the wood floors rather than spend $5,000 redoing your wood floors and then putting a timestamp stain on the floors. It could have been that we could have taken part of that money and put it in other areas that would have given a bigger bang, and I could have come up with a solution for you to make the floors present well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's like, get us in early. Many times, not all stagers, so be sure and ask a stager if you do reach out to one about if they're comfortable talking to you about curb appeal and landscape, because that is huge, huge, huge. Think about it. The first picture really most people ever see of a house for sale is that exterior front yard photo. So if you get somebody in there, if they're comfortable talking with you about those things, we can help guide you so that you don't. I have two things happen. Three things happen. One thing, people think it's no big deal because the inside's so great, so they don't really do anything outside. Or number two, they go crazy and spend 10, 20, $30,000 in the front yard. And there's all these plants and everything everywhere that visually, it's noise. It's just visual noise, right? So there's that. Plus another thing here, the feedback that I have seen is if we have a yard that is too perfect, many people are intimidated thinking, but I'm not a gardener. I don't know how to take care of it. Or they're a gardener and they're thinking, if we have a cleaner palette, so to speak, a true gardener will come in and go, I can put my print on this house. Oh, I know right what's going to go over there. And oh, I can just see. And so they'll create it. So if we give them a clean palette with color in proper spaces, it's huge. So as a stager, we can come in and help you with all those things. Also, many times when people are downsizing or whatever it is, if you are thinking that, well, I'm going to get rid of all this furniture because we don't need it at the next house, get the stager in sooner, because the stager can turn your house into a shopping center. That's one of the things I'm known for. I will actually go in and look around and say, okay, tell me for sure what you're going to keep. I'm going to do my best to work it into the plan. And if there are things that you're going to give away, sell, whatever, it's not going to be here, you're not going to take it with you. Let's look to see if it can help save you money when you go to present, and let me shop your house. So you see, and then, oh my gosh, I'll go in and they will pre-pack all the things I need to stage the house. And the well-meaning realtor will say, you need to pack your clutter. Well, people don't understand necessarily what that is. So what they do is they pack the very things I use. I cannot tell you how many times I go into a house where there are these beautiful, beautiful bookshelves. And I'll go in and they're bare, or they'll have a crystal collection. And there's just a few things, and I'll say, oh, well, do you have any books? And they'll look at each other and go, oh, we just gave those away. We had probably 400 hardback books. Because I'm also about to tell them, pack up the crystal. There's special times when you keep the crystal out, but it doesn't photograph well. So here I am telling them the things that they discarded were the things that could have helped make them money. So get that stager in as soon as possible. Let them help you figure out paint colors. And just real quickly on the whole paint thing, many times if the exterior of your house needs to be painted, talk to your stager about potentially updating the exterior of the house with paint. Because if you repaint your 30-year-old house the same color that it has always been, and you do that because I know it saves you money when you don't do a color change. But when you do that, you have a freshly painted 30-year-old looking house. However, if you spend that few extra dollars, that it might be $300 to $800, I don't know what size your house is, but if you do that, oh my gosh, it is night and day. All of a sudden, you have a home where they're like, when was this house built? And I know I've shared photos about that in the past, But it's so important. So really, it's just wisdom. And realtors, when you're out there, I know many times you have clients who will say, they'll call you and say, hey, I'm thinking about maybe going on the market next year. What do you think? Get to know a good stager who will go in there and not only provide great information to the client, but that who also knows you and knows your business and is there to keep you into the forefront of those sellers' mind, because there's a long time in that year-long process. So a good stager will do all those things for you. So the sooner the better, the sooner the better. But if you've already done all this stuff, get us in soon, as soon as you can.
And I was going to add, Bobby, too, that we're going to be talking about painting next week or the week after, so in coming weeks. But the times that I see people painting their homes white, in a white that is white with black in it. And as you know, I have a bugbear about grey in the walls of homes for sale, because white, black and grey are not colours, so they're not nurturing. And grey is actually, in the positive, it's balance. In the negative, it's indecision. So what it means is, do you really want the colour of indecision in your home? And you just don't know whether people are going to love it or hate it. Whereas beige, in the positive, it can even be greyish, but beige itself is actually like a big warm hug. It's the colour of nature. It's the colour of, wood is in those tones. There are, behind you, Bobby, it's all, it's all in those types of tones, which are really about, the warm and welcoming country kitchen kind of feel,
Yeah.
So, and it can be modernized really well. I always say that beige is that canvas upon which you can put anything. And I was in Arizona after I had met you. Just after I'd met you, I'd gone to Arizona, and I'd lost my voice for a week. So I'm in the middle of the desert, really, in the middle of nowhere, and I was doing some blogs, and I was looking for ways to talk about beige. How do I talk about beige? And I was walking around the area, and as you probably know, in Arizona, in some parts, there's no grass. There's no colour. Yeah. And I'm looking up into the distance, into this beige distance. And one evening I happened to be walking, and the sun started setting. The magnificence of the colours in this beige setting suddenly were amazing. And then another day it started raining, and of course again after the rains you have this profusion of colour that comes out. And this is, this was a really great analogy for me about your home, is that if you can create that canvas, right, that is going to really allow all of the colours to pop and things to blossom in the home, then that's that's huge.
I mean, I love that you're talking about that, because when you were saying, off into the beige, well, I'm from the West. I grew up in Colorado. And so I was like thinking, oh my gosh, but does she? And then you got into the sunsets, and I thought, yeah, there's something about it. A good neutral can just really, really take you places. And it's just smart. So yeah, we'll have some great talk about paint. That'll be a good one, because me, paint is money in a can.
That's it. That's great. But let's talk about money in a can, Bobby, because I know that you are, this is a terrible segue, but I know that you are putting, that you're putting some training programs in the can as we speak.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm actually quite excited about it. It's for home stagers, the one that I'm working on. And what I was trying to decide what perspective, what exactly should be my focus. And this is what I was thinking. So many times when home stagers first begin their business, they almost get overwhelmed with all the things you're supposed to do. All the things that when you go through, training or whatever, it's like, oh, there's all these things to do. So what I decided to do was to distill it down to what I believe is truly the backbone of a home staging business. And that is the consultation. And what I want to do from that consultation is once you get that consult, and there's so much, it's like, how do you get the first consultation, right? Okay, yeah, Bobby, sure, tell me that. But how do you get that? All of those things we'll talk about, because I want to talk about things such as your mindset when you go out there, and the way that you present yourself to potential realtors or to someone in the grocery store line. You want to, what is it that how is it that you get out there and get that initial job? And then I really want to share with anyone who wants to get into the home staging industry, how it is that a consultation will build your business. I used to do the vacants. I no longer do that. I focus in on the occupied, and my consultation business is such that I'm here to tell you, I'm living proof you can have a six-figure income. You can talk your way to a six-figure income with consultations, but they've got to be good consultations. They've got to be great consultations. You have got to understand how to develop relationship with the realtors so that they call you no matter what. You need to understand your pricing. You need to understand when people push back on your pricing. You have to understand the education needs that you have. You need to understand the experience that you need to have. I want to share those things with you because as I was sitting down figuring out numbers I picked a number out of my head, and I said, okay, so if I were to charge $350 for a consultation, I did the math, and not my strength, by the way. So I was doing something good for you guys. What I was looking at, if you were to do 6 consultations a week, only 6 consultations a week for 50 weeks, I'm even giving you 2 weeks off for vacation. Okay. That takes you well into the 6 figures. Think about that. So as I look at consultations too, it's not overwhelming because you're not having to invest in inventory. And then I got to thinking about that. No, you're not having to invest in physical inventory, but you do need to invest in mental inventory because it's constantly looking for what are the things that I can learn that will elevate the 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours that I have with my client, that will enable them to be as strong as possible when they enter the market. Now, with that consultation, oh my gosh, people all the time, it's the upsell, it's the upsell. You know what? If you have strong consultations, it gives you the opportunity to, first of all, the realtors will depend on you because they know that you're going to give good quality information and you're not trying to sell. Okay. It's very, very important. That's been a huge business builder for me, understanding that one thing. And then what we'll do is we're going to look at what some of the different jobs are. I'm a big nut for notes. I mean, I'm constantly doing sticky notes. So I'm now peeking at my sticky note. So what I was looking at is just off the consultation and without any physical inventory, additional services, you've got selections, you've got the photo prep, you've got shopping for them, you've got oversight of the job. You have so many other things that you can do, but it's going to be based on your education and your experience. So I'm going to talk about all of that so that you'll know where to go for the education. Come see me. I'm here to help. But there's other great people I'm going to be recommending as well. And then also the experience. Where can you go for this experience? And then how do you quantify that and share that with your clients? So I really, really want to hone in on the consultation as being the backbone of a really strong home staging business. Then what we'll also talk about is I'm, of course, still going to talk about vacant staging and then what I call staging enhancements. And that's when you start investing in inventory. And when you start, and I'm going to give you a good overview so that you will have a better understanding of what to expect should you decide to cross over into that part of the business. And it's a big commitment should you decide to do that. So I want to share those things with you, but I really want to encourage anyone out there who wants to be a home stager. You can talk your way into a fantastic business. And I'm here to tell you, it's not easy, but it's easier than it was 14 years ago because I didn't have anybody to talk to. Now there's now there's opportunities that's what my whole goal is with these courses is I want to be that person that I wish I could have reached out to. My goal is always, always, always for the good situation for the stager, for the realtor, and of course the home seller. So that's my whole goal. I like to say that I try to look at everything from a very positive and empowering perspective. So if that's something that you think you'd want to learn, come see me because that's what this whole course load is about, is approaching all those things. And I mean, I haven't even touched on the mindset talk, the neuroscience, the neuromarketing science. Oh my God, you guys, I'll geek out on that, don't I, Tracy? I love the whole neuromarketing research and how it applies to real estate.
And that's really exciting, Bobby, because I'm not sure that everyone knows how exciting it is that you're going to be teaching Australian stagers how to do the basics and how to get that business started with your knowledge, with empowering and educating your home sellers, because really that's what that 2-hour consultation is, isn't it? You're not walking around moving furniture and saying, you just sit there with a cup of coffee while I've got this. That's not what a 2-hour consultation is. It's an immersion. It's the homeowner is very much a part of the process, and it's helping them to understand that they are going to be able to learn. They're going to transition from being a homeowner to a home seller. And it is just such a wonderful process when you see someone go through it. They're excited about the prospect of selling their home. They know what their job is while their home's on the market. And they're really keen then to get those things done, get those things in place that you have explained to them. And, while agents will say, we don't need you to do that because I go in and tell them, get rid of that, don't do that, do this. And it's a different process is the best way I can describe it. We go through in the detail of it, don't we?
Yeah. And I look at it as I'm coming up alongside the home seller. I'm coming up alongside them. So another, which is so to me is huge. I let people know I can do as little or as much as you would like to have done. And so many folks, they're willing, I say many times people have more time than money. So if they have more time than money, then professionally assisted is the way to go. But if you have more money than time, then professionally staged is the way to go. And another portion of the courses I'm really excited about too, what I'm known for doing here in this area, I'm known for creating strong, compelling marketing photos. When I go in, I'm always looking for, okay, got to taste the money. Where's the money in the room and what can we do to showcase this? So what I want to do, I'm pretty excited about this too, is I'm actually going to be teaching my process, teaching my mindset. And so it's going to be a real photo heavy session. It might actually break into 2 or 3 sessions because I'm thinking I may actually break it up into different rooms. And what we'll be talking about is how to create that photo, kind of how to shop the house, also how to edit, and then creating those photos and really teaching those who participate how to find the money in the rooms, and then what is it that it takes to showcase those strengths. So that might actually turn into 3 sessions because as I'm breaking everything down, I'm thinking, there's a lot to cover on that actually. And that's huge because if the people start realizing what it is that you do and they start seeing the photos that go out, and there are, wow, that's incredible. That's fabulous. And another thing is I also want to have a whole session about how to work with photographers. I want you to know how to work with photographers, I want you to know how to encourage photographers. I also want to teach you how to talk to realtors about selecting photographers, because it's price and presentation, right? Price and presentation. Well, presentation is made up of two things, and that's the staging and the photos. So it's very important that all that happens. Another thing too, I really get into this. Okay, another thing. I learned this in high school. I was a cheerleader in high school, okay? And I remember we had Mrs. Eckmark. She was the supervisor over the cheerleaders. And do you know what she had us do, like right off the bat? She says, "No, you're not going to learn any cheers. We're not going to do any of that." She goes, "Get out to the football field." And I was like, "What?" And she made us go out and learn how to play football. She made us go out. She said, "Nothing I hate more than a dumb cheerleader." So she said, "I want you to understand what the first downs are." And this is American football, right? And so I want you to understand this. I want you to know the different positions and everything. And I was like thinking, what? But you know what? That has played in my mind so many times. It's so important you understand the entire game. So with that in mind, I want to make sure that stagers know the real estate process. I am shocked at how many home stagers have no idea what a realtor does. They have no idea what a broker in charge is. They have no idea about the closing process. They don't know. And I tell you what, when I'm out there and I'm working on a home and the home seller is talking about the process, and they're like starting to go down a path, I mean, I always direct them back to the realtor, but I know the process. I actually used to work in the mortgage industry. So it's like understanding what they're going through helps you when you're in that situation, because you know when to step back or when to step in. It's just important. So get to know the game. Maybe that's what we'll call it. We'll call it get in the game.
Get in the game.
Get in the game. Who knew Mrs. Eckmark would be, I'd be quoting her all these years later.
And really important things that you're talking about, Bobby, because as you know, I do some interior decoration, renovation, and new build work. Mm-hmm. And I'm working on a renovation at the moment where, sorry, let me try again. I'm hypothetically, if I were working on a renovation, Bobby, that the client had not purchased well, they had not been informed, they didn't know of what to look for in their building and pest inspection. So when they purchased, there were some hidden problems, which now when you're looking to renovate, you suddenly have things that before you spend any money on the cosmetics, you have to get done. Nobody will ever know that you have done them. They have been things that have been done by a backyard person who has made changes, and now there's leaks happening, there's mold, there's different things that need to be dealt with immediately that really can't wait. So on that note, though, but some of the things what's really been interesting, or what is really interesting, is how people pick and choose what they're not going to do to be able to stay within budget. And it's an interesting process when you go through with someone, because I've been through with my clients who are renovating. Here's what the builder says, here's what the architect said. And most recently, I've had the real estate agent come in and say, here's what the real estate agent says. And this is all very frustrating for the client, but I'd much rather they knew today than 6 years down the track. And they're saying, nobody ever told me. It seems to me it's really important to, even when you're renovating, to have a real estate agent that you know and trust, or even a stager come in and talk about where the money is going to be in your home as part of the team, to be able to help you really understand, that pool may not be the thing to put in, or it may not be, it may be that where you want to place your driveway is not going to make you any money. you know, a different type of driveway may be better. Is the bathroom, you have a double sink in your master bathroom, in your ensuite? All of these questions, which as homeowners, you're really only thinking about what's going to suit you and your family a lot of the time. But I think it's really smart if you're taking out walls and changing rooms to know where the money is, and then it doesn't matter if you say, I don't care, I want to do this today. That's okay too. But at least you've been informed. You've got the right information.
Yeah, I just had some clients that I went to their home, and the goal was, she says, we're not sure if we want to sell the house or not. So we want to have a stager come in and tell us the things we think we want to do, if it's going to, you know, if it's going to make sense for us to do it. So I went in there, and as I was talking, I mean, I was trying to give them both perspectives. If you're staying, these would be your options. But if you think you're going to leave in 3 years or less, don't spend that money. You know, let's do some cosmetic changes that will give you the new fresh look that you're looking for, but you're not going to get that return on investment. But however, if you're going to stay here for, you know, 5, 7 years, whatever, and you will enjoy it all that time and everything, you can do some things that might have a little more taste specific, but understand the backsplash you're picking, you plan on replacing that when you enter the market. That's pretty different, right? And so having those talks, then they can make that decision from that position of education and from knowledge. So yeah, that's, and I will tell people, look, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. This is part of my talk when I come into with the consultations. I say I'm going to cover a lot of information, and there's going to be times where you're going to go, no, I'm not going to do it. And what I do, that went right out of my head. Edit this part out. Oh my goodness. We were talking about edit it out. I can't remember. Hey, live people.
I'm talking editing department, make note.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, I've got too many notes around me.
Talking about our editing department with regard to when do you think, well, you know, and I know it's a few weeks away, but we'll be starting to get some information out to people so that they can start to engage and start to book in with the training. Perfect. And we're hoping to get started in August, so it's not too far away.
Yes, and there's going to, and I was going to mention, we're going to put that questionnaire together. You know, should I consider a home staging business, or do I just want to be a stager and work with somebody else? You know, business owner versus state. I mean, there's difference. Just, you know, you can be a home stager and not own your own company. Ooh, that's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? But it's true. It's true. So we'll kind of, you know, we'll look at that. That was one of the things on my list right here.
That's great, because, you know, different people need different things from their income, and staging cannot necessarily be a consistent income, and certainly not in the first 5 to 7 years. You know, you're learning, and this is what we're trying to help people to do, is by learning what Bobby's teaching you. This is going to help you not to have to go through those 5 to 7 years of uncertainty, not knowing what to do. This is kind of home staging for the home stagers, because, you know, it's like having someone come into your home and tell you what you need to do to get your home sold.
Right.
This is money in a can. When Bobby's talking about how to run a home staging business, it is based on experience. It is based on 14 years of knowledge and 5,500 homes. It's got to be, I don't know how many more than 200 agents, but many more than 200 real estate agents that Bobby has worked with in order to bring you this information. You cannot find this information, you know, in many training courses, because a lot of people who are training are either full-time trainers, or they have been off the direct client contact. They might do a consultation here and there, but in the main, a lot of them will have bigger businesses and have people who are actually doing the legwork for them. So
yeah,
I don't know where else in the world you're going to find this information, and that's why we're here, Bobby.
well, I was really thinking that solopreneur, right? I love that term, that solopreneur. That's who I'm looking to talk with, because I want to let you know, yeah, you can do it. I mean, I did it. I had looked at growing my business. I made a lot of plans to grow and everything. And then I could just had to talk to myself with myself, not to myself, but with myself, and just realize, you know what? I like being just me. I bring people in when I need help. I've got some great people to pull from, but I like that. And I think that that's a viable business. It's a viable business model. And I just want to share that yes, you can be a solopreneur and do great. And you can do great. You can do as little or as much as you want. And it's just learning the process and then actually putting action to the process. I'm excited.
And look, we're also going to be bringing information to people. Certainly from Presentation Cells, we're going to be bringing information to people that is going to be not just for those who are very comfortable talking to people, but also for those who are uncomfortable, who are introverts naturally, who need to have everything scripted, who need to know exactly what they're saying and what they're doing beforehand. Whereas Bobby and I can sit here and talk off the cuff. That's not necessarily how where everyone is comfortable in their business. So it's helping you to find those different models too that we really want to bring to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you'll see I'm a big word person, so there'll be all kinds of scripts and things for you to use and practice. And I've got it's homework. I call it homework. It is homework. Things for you to do, and hopefully through the process too, you will learn. Everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses, and I'm really looking forward to helping people realize that regardless what your strength is or whatever. I mean, like for instance, I'm not a good paperwork person. But if you happen to be really, really great paperwork person, but you're not really comfortable, speaking to a big group of people or something, well, I look and think, oh, I wish I had that paperwork gene, right? So I've built my business around what my strengths are. But there are things that we can do. If you're a paperwork person, you can build your business around that. So I'm looking forward to just sharing all that information. I think it'll be fun along the way too. Don't you, Tracy?
Lots of fun. And just the education that I've had from you, Bobby, over the last 12 months has been invaluable. So I can really recommend to everyone that this is going to be an amazing journey with Bobby, and she's distilled it all down into what's important. And so really look forward to that. And
Perfect.
we've got, speaking about different personality types, in a couple of weeks on Facebook Live, we'll have Julie Davis talking about the personality types and what to expect. We'll also I'm also talking to a real estate agent about helping us to answer that question about the real estate process. So one of the top agents in the country, we want to find out from them what the real estate process is and how to help people understand that.
That is fabulous.
So we've got some great things coming up, and really looking forward to showing everyone what's happening. Now I'm just trying to, let's see. Oh gosh, the sun.
I can always tell when you get in that techie mode.
Do I get really serious?
All of a sudden you go, okay.
I'm in techie mode.
You do have bright sunlight, I gotta say, you do.
Look, honestly, really, all I need to do is deal with the situation of why my blind isn't working. But that's kind of that then means I'm in tradesperson mode, and I don't have a tradesperson mode. So, it's just getting some of my team around to do the things in my home that need to be done.
Yeah. we all have things we need to do at our house, it's like,
So does anyone have any questions before we stop the live stream, or even after we stop the live stream? I'm going to stop now and say thank you very much to Bobby for joining us today, and hope that you found some interesting information, everyone.